Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Deadfire with me, Break It Dawn. Let's take a look at our new companions. So Palagina is an avian godlike, which gives her +1 to dexterity and +1 to intellect, as well as the vigilant quarry passive. Avian godlike are acute and precise, granting resistance to intellect and perception afflictions. +1 intellect because she's from the Valian Republics, and +1 to athletics, intimidate, and survival because she's a soldier. And the Greatsword modal provides savage attack. The character swings their Greatsword with massive force, increasing damage at the cost of accuracy. So -10 accuracy for +30% damage. And Maya is an Island Amoa, +2 to might, and among the waves. Island Amoa are unusually comfortable moving through water, deep sand, mud, and similar obstacles. Unlike all other races, they are not reduced to waiting when running through such impediments during combat. +1 constitution for being from Rauatai, and +2 to stealth and +1 to explosives as a marksman. She has the 5 Suns breastplate. Starts at fine. -5% damage taken, improves as the wearer loses health. Oh, interesting. The upgrade grants +5% damage done with weapons, increases as the wearer loses health. And we had this other breastplate. Aw, man. I almost went Intimidate with her instead of Diplomacy. I could see her specializing in either. Yes, I might respec her. Anyway, let's read this. Palagina had followed her orders from the Duke's Bells, helping to establish an exclusive trade arrangement between the Valian Republics and the tribes of Glonfoth. Okay, so I'm assuming her breastplate would have changed depending on how we handled her quest in the first game. Strengthened by the Watcher's Gift of Souls, the furious Deer Woodens waged war against the Republics for 2 long years. The Republics gained a great deal of wealth and trade, but suffered the loss of many vessels and thousands of lives. Several of the ducal families lost favor with their citizens. Riots in Salona claimed the life of that city's duke. The other Duke's Bells were pressured into relinquishing the exclusive trade rights to end the conflict with the Deerwood. Palagina was honored for her service at the opening of trade. Thankfully, her reputation among the Dukes and within the Brotherhood was not tarnished by what followed. Palagina continued to proudly wear her breastplate, which declares her loyalty to the Brotherhood, the Dukes, and the Republics. And Maya has Sharpshooter's Garb. Fine, and gunnery, -20% reload time with arbalest, arquebus, and crossbow attacks. This is the traditional uniform of the Rauatai Naval Infantry, an elite force of sharpshooters tasked with protecting Rauataian ships from boarding parties and enemy gunners. While it offers adequate protection, the armor's true purpose is to allow the wearer sufficient flexibility while navigating a ship's riggings. Maya declined to adorn the uniform with insignia or symbols of her rank, as such trappings often reveal the presence of officers to enemy marksmen. Oh, interesting. So low profile, +5 deflection against ranged weapons, increases with stealth skill. And return fire. Convert 15% of range damage, ranged weapon hits to crits for 6 seconds after missed by a ranged weapon attack. And steel threaded. +1 to crush armor, +1 to slash armor. Let's go and speak to him.
Here we are again, Watcher. I thought we had seen the last of each other after the Hollowborn crisis. It didn't go quite as I had planned, but it all worked out in the end.
She looks down at the 5 suns on her breastplate, and faintly smiles with a shrug. Indeed. I'm glad to have you at my side again.
Belfetto.
He nods respectfully.
You only have to ask.
Can you tell me more about what happened after we defeated Theus?
After we parted ways, I returned to the Republics and reported to the Duke's bells. I explained that allowing the Deerwood to retain some trading rights with Air Glanfath would be more beneficial for everyone in the years to come. They were furious, of course. I was lucky I escaped with my life. They stripped me of my breastplate and scoured the suns from it. Then I was put on a ship for Ceres. I floated from port to port, working as a guard for almost 3 years, before the Duke Espirento sent word to me that my presence was requested in Biagepe. The Dukes had decided that the trade they had developed between Air Glanfath, the Deerwood, and the Republics was a boon in the long run. Much like you, I never expected to see them again. I didn't get an apology, but I accepted a pardon from the Duchess Biagepe.
What's your opinion on what's happening with Aethys?
Whatever they are up to cannot be good for any of us. At their best, the gods are powerful children. At worst, they are little more than mad beasts taking out their anger on our world. I have little interest in distinguishing which type Aethys is.
She waves the back of her hand up and up, dismissing the thought. How do you like the Deadfire so far?
Where I am assigned is of no concern to me. But I do think the Deadfire can be profitable for the Republics. If the Dukes need me here, I am glad to serve them.
How are you?
Good. I have no concerns, Watcher.
Oh yeah, I never did follow up with that. Whatever happened with you and Manea? Gina slowly turns her head in your direction, eyebrows raised, and her eyelids nictitating out and back.
Que?
You and Manea, you were together, weren't you?
Manea was a good companion and a skilled warrior. But her imagination got the better of her. It appears to have gotten the better of you as well.
She runs her fingers along a wayward feather pointing in an odd direction from her wrist, pressing it flush against her skin. Farewell.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
Maya folds her arms and clicks her tongue against the roof of her mouth. What's that?
You're asking yourself, how did I let the Royal Deadfire Company plant an informant in my crew?
She chuckles to herself, but there's a note of resignation to it.
My superiors might expect me to report in from time to time, but don't read too much into it. You're not the only big thing happening around here. I'm in this for a lot of information, a little diplomacy, and plenty of target practice.
She opens her palms and shrugs. And what if my actions damage the Royal Deadfire Company?
This whole campaign is a risk-benefit analysis. The Navy knows you're a gamble, and they're factoring in all potential losses.
Maya wipes a line of black powder from her cheek.
Rawatai is here to do some good work, since the Huana can't seem to do it themselves. Maybe just try and stay out of our way.
Now, at least you're upfront about spying on me.
Better that you hear it from me than someone else, right? The company isn't in the business of reassigning officers outside of the mission unless they've got a damn good reason. And you are a damn good reason. Take the compliment.
As long as you're keen on taking orders, I don't object to having you on board. Well, which I requested her to be giving to me for my crew anyway.
Uncomplicated. Just the way I like it. Oh, guess you ought to meet the bird. Ishi is smarter than he looks, but don't expect him to do any tricks.
She nods to the colorful bird of prey hopping around your ankles.
Ishi, come.
Maya taps her arm with 2 fingers and clicks her tongue again.
That's a good-looking bird.
Adair raises one hand and waggles its index finger.
Hey, birdie. Hey, birdie.
Ishiza shows no signs of recognition toward Maya or Adair. Ishiza simply claws at the ground and investigates some bugs a few graceful hops away. I'm not one to complain about pets on my ship. Yeah, we'll try this. Click your tongue like Maya. Cocking his head, Ishiza turns to you with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism.
Takes practice before he'll listen to you properly, but that's a good start.
Adair nods at Ishiza, who bobs his head in response. Adair nods twice. The large bird replies with 2 head bobs. Adair begins tilting his head up and down, and Ishiza follows it with vigorous, full-body bobs. Encouraged, Adair starts bouncing his own body up and down, at which point Ishiza stops bouncing and watches Adair with cockeyed curiosity.
Did your friend suffer a head wound?
Maya frowns at Adair.
Before we get into deeper waters, I've got a question.
Maya clears her throat into her fist.
You've got a ship and a title. Being captain means more than just wearing a big hat. A lot of tough calls to be made.
But I still get the big hat, right?
Well, naturally. That's your right. A crew can be like family. They can also be like a nest of squalling infants. Let's say your galley cook was fixing to organize the rest of the crew into a mutiny. How would you handle it?
Huh. Would I actually let it play out? I don't think so. I think by that point it'd be too late. Definitely option 1. I'd get ahead of the problem and compromise with the crew.
Sort it out as equals. Interesting. Of course, the only right answer is the one that works in a given time and place. I just wanted to hear yours.
What's yours?
Ask me again when I'm wearing the big hat. That'll be a different Maya. But enough about me. Glad to be aboard, Captain.
Maya takes your arm and gives it a good pump. I had some questions.
I've got some answers.
Maya nods, giving you room to speak freely. Tell me about your family.
Well, my parents came from the Deadfire. I'm getting a taste of my roots.
Maya exhales and glances away.
After they immigrated to Rauatai, their talents caught the Ranganui's eye. He saw them as this spectacle, this achievement of the old country, I guess. So they were honored guests. Not many Huana rose to distinction in Takoa. We were also curiosities. Even as we broke the same bread and tossed back the same wine, the Ranganui's friends always checked under the table to see if I had a tail. Kana thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that sounds intolerable.
It was an education in patience.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Growing up in the Ranganui's shadow wasn't all bad. We had tutors and advisors at our disposal, and lots of folk from stranger parts than these. I spent my days learning to shoot, while my more academic siblings learned to express themselves. I leave you to judge who spent their time better.
So she mentioned Kana. I'm assuming that Kana is her brother. Oh yeah, option 2. Surprised we couldn't bring it up earlier, because I did look for that dialogue option. You're one of Kana's siblings, aren't you?
Sure am. And I heard that you two spent some time together. Funny how the gods toss things together. I heard tell that Kana sailed off in search of whatever he didn't find in the Deerwood. They say he lit a fire under the Ranganui to speed up the taming of the Deadfire.
Maya grins at this, planting her hands on her hips with pride.
You clearly had some sway on his opinions, more than I ever did. Wish you had told Kana to give up on the poetry. He's got no ear for it.
Hey, I enjoyed Kana's songs.
If you want to hear a voice like a powder keg belting out Rauataian anthems while you're running at a dragon, be my guest. Some of us find it distracting. I do with bullets what Kana did with words. Just in case you were wondering, the comparison ends there.
Maya tips her head and studies you to make sure the point came across. How did you and Ishiza first get acquainted?
I won a shooting competition at the Ranganui's estate. This was a few years before enlisting with the Navy. As a reward, he gave me the freedom of the Royal Eyrie and said I could take my pick of the warbirds.
Maya kneels and strokes under Ishiza's beak.
Stink Feathers here kicked a rather pretty hawk off my arm so he could have me all to himself. Been inseparable ever since.
Hello, Ishiza. Who's a good bird? The bird cocks his head, his eyes reflecting a mixture of friendly recognition and murderous calculation.
Uh-oh. That's his "I'm hungry and you're wasting my time" face. Better step back, Captain.
Let's be off. Okay, let's go and equip Palagina. Let's go ahead and put this on. Hopefully so I remember to respec her. Alright, there's her greatsword and a blunderbuss. I had to just sell all my equipment to buy a bunch of
You
pets.
are too kind, Watcher. I accept.
Which was a little poorly timed. Water dances in graceful circles around this coral sculpture. Alright, so we're going to explore the palace. We'll head out afterwards and respec Palagina. Really wish I would have remembered had that breastplate. I was saving it specifically for Palagina. Makarama the Buoyant, beloved of Ingati. Hey, Panamo Birdscorned, greatest of explorers, we met him. Amunga Makapu, defender of his people. Yeah, Punamu Birdscorned, he was the merchant that we met. Anslog's Compass in the first game.
Ado, Watcher. Clearly you are an interesting man to know.
Hi, Granis Irgar? We meet a tall, brown-haired man dressed in full plate mail. That might not normally catch your eye, but his mail is unusual. Colored a deep green and emblazoned with the image of a golden tree. And on the pommel of his sword, he watches the crowd go by with keen eyes, relaxed yet fully alert. He narrows his eyes when he spots you.
What do you need of me?
He looks at you warily, as if he is deciding whether you're a snake that might bite.
Well?
Tell me about yourself. He's initially hesitant, unsure of your intent. Eyes narrowed, he sizes you up, then nods. Interesting armor you have there.
I suppose it is. Are you familiar with the shield bearers of St. Elka? We are a paladin order.
Nod.
Word of our order travels far then. Good.
He clears his throat dramatically.
I am the son of a disgraced noble family. My father and brothers were executed for treason when I was a boy. Rightfully so, I must add. And my mother, sister, and I were thrown out on the street. All we had to our names was a trunk full of heirlooms. One of them was this suit of armor, which belonged to my eldest brother. Now I endeavor to live up to its promise and redeem my family's honor.
Adi doesn't have a shield. Looks like he's using a greatsword.
That's the long and short of it, really.
Can you teach me what you've learned as a member of the Shield Bearers?
Well, you would need to become a shield bearer yourself to really learn it all. But I suppose I can teach you a thing or two as we stand here. The privilege will run you 3,000 copper, however.
No, I don't think so.
As you like.
He shrugs. When we have the funds, we'll do it. We're a little short on change right now.
On it.
What mechanism controls this door is unclear. The plate does not budge under your fingers. Let's speak to Prince Aruihi.
Your coming is a favorable omen already.
The prince nods and crosses his arms, a self-satisfied smile on his lips. Say nothing.
Such modesty, I say. You happen by a time when our rivals bicker and tear at each other's throats. It does not take a priest to see how the gods send us an outsider to dig under the skin of our enemies.
Aruihi chuckles to himself and nods. Bow. Honored to meet you.
Save your manners for my sister. Kohopa fashioned me for the arena, not the court. I will not paddle around the island. My sister wants to know if you are as useful as you are disruptive. She trusts me to judge this. You did not come this far to serve the crown, I say. But sailing is an expensive hobby. Loyal service can keep your galley stocked.
Have any problems with loyalty lately?
Neketaka is a city of friends, I say. We exchange so much between districts.
His smile tightens into a hard line.
Even my sister's advisors dine at the officers' lounge and indulge at the wild mare.
Aruihi grimaces and looks away. I take it you prefer friends to remain close.
Here in Serpent's Crown, I can guarantee safety. But cavorting with outsiders, Akira, that is open water.
He opens his palms and sighs.
A helpful warning, Herald of Bereth. From one friend to another.
What kind of loyal service did you have in mind?
My sister keeps a tight grip on Neketaka, but the filth of it drips down her palm and into the gullet.
Oh, I think Takeo wanted to speak to Prince Aruihi. Shoot. We'll have to come back here. He opens his hand for emphasis and wipes it across his shoulder.
You have some knowledge of Neketaka already. They say you have explored the city beneath the city.
Aruihi's brow arches.
Under our noses, I say, do foreigners smuggle contraband and pay the Rapau for their silence? How do they avoid the inspectors? Who is responsible? This cannot have gone unseen by all.
The prince crosses his arms and frowns. Oh. So I do think it's better to remain in the good graces of the royal family as a gold pack knight. The prince appears smuggling cargo via the Undercroft.
Undercroft, a darker, more fetid layer of Neketaka, I say.
He cradles his chin in his palm, looking off into the distance.
Onikaza and I are the mind and heart of the city, but the bowels, these we cannot reach. At least Delver's Row is a stable target. The crown has time to decide the next steps.
What do you plan on doing about Delver's Row?
I learned in the arena never to underestimate an advantage. For now, it is enough that I know where they bring in goods.
For what it's worth, I think Delver's Row should remain untouched.
What say?
Aruihi's brow rises slowly.
You hit upon my curiosity. Speak on.
He opens his palm and waits. The Rapparu are barely in control of their lives as it is. Don't take this away from them.
You are quick to come to their defense, but the Rapparu must recall their place in society.
Sighing, the prince weighs your words.
If the black market will expend its resources toward the Rapparu, then I say they have bought in an easy truce. Delver's Row is safe, for now.
Aruihi glances toward the entrance doubtfully, but shrugs in spite of himself.
Be sure that I do not regret this.
Water Shapers were helping the pirates bring in ships.
I had my suspicions, but I had no wish to see them confirmed.
Aruihi winces and looks away.
When it comes to the dignity of the guild, the crown can compromise nothing. Onikaza will see their leadership disciplined, I say.
They must have needed the money. Can you imagine why?
Akira, I cannot.
Aruihi pinches his lower lip and sighs.
Onikaza and I both expect more from the guild, I say. She will not be pleased. Akira, but at least you returned to me in one piece. You are not the first agent I sent to the gullet, but you are the first to return.
Aruihi grins in spite of himself and claps you on the shoulder.
I say I would feel safe anywhere with Rauatai's sharpest weapon in my arsenal.
He inclines his head to Maya.
If you're trying to flatter me, stop taking notes from my brother the poet.
Maya folds her arms and grimaces at Aruihi.
I cannot say that I desire to send you to worse places than the gullet, but...
Aruihi trails off and scratches the back of his head. Go on.
Does the name Ukaizo mean anything to you?
The prince's face is impassive, but he seems to be studying yours with close attention to detail. An old mosaic beneath the city depicted Ukaizo.
Ikera, then the city's bowel hides more than I credit.
Aruihi thumbs his chin and nods.
Ukaizo was the home of the Huana before cataclysm and destruction wiped the island from the Deadfire. That is the story. Story or no, I make no secret that we search for Ukaizo.
He studies you, allowing his words to sink in.
I do not share this lightly, I say.
He glances at Maya, his attention lingering.
Please, speak on. If it looks like I'm taking notes, it's because I am.
She winks down at Ishiza.
Should I leave this in the hands of someone I trust instead?
Aruihi turns to you with a look of warning. Just get on with it. You can trust me.
Kira, I should hope so.
Aruihi keeps his gaze firmly fixed on Maya. He's the first to break eye contact and refocus on you. It's interesting, he's not paying any attention to Palagina, who's also a spy.
Our tribes are spread across many isles, but it is Ukaizo which binds us. Ukaizo, and the knowledge that we must return. To that end, a local cartographer secured a lead. A breadcrumb to a breadcrumb, I say. I sent an expedition to Matari Okozi, one of the Sanctuary Isles. They were to retrieve evidence of our lost homeland. They have yet to return.
Sanctuary Isles.
They were sites where our ancestors grouped in terms of crisis, constants in changing seas. You have the cartographer Atepo to thank. He wanders the Western Shrine if you would know more.
The prince makes a dismissive wave toward the door. What makes you think Matare Okozi contains evidence of Ukaizo?
The Sanctuary Isles give comfort and guidance to sailors on the long journey home. I am hoping the island can remember its purpose and return us to the home we lost.
How has the island remained hidden all this time?
A question for those with years to gather reeds and scribe their thoughts.
Aruihi smooths back his hair and sighs.
It might be that someone or something on the island does not wish to be found. In better times than these, I would have been happy to oblige.
Should I expect any resistance?
The trading companies would not have thought to look for Matari Okozi, but now they are vultures to carrion. I do not doubt that our rivals race for the same thing, all while we fall behind.
Aruihi sighs. No further questions.
Ikera, then you are ready to depart?
I trust you'll relay my helpfulness to the queen.
Naturally, I say. My sister remembers her friends. I remember her enemies.
Aruihi winks.
Before you go.
Aruihi lowers his tone and glances to his left and right.
That did seem like too nice a way to end it.
The expedition. I have reason to believe they will not be returning to Neketaka.
Say nothing.
We found this at the palace doorstep, cut from the robe of the expedition leader.
He reaches into his pocket and draws forth a wad of red-stained bark cloth.
One mystery heaped on another, I say.
He drags his thumb over the cloth and frowns to himself. Who could have sent this?
If you learn in your travels, I hope you will tell me. The crown has grown too accustomed to warnings, I say.
He thumbs the fabric and frowns. Let me see that. I might be able to learn something from it. Nodding, he relinquishes the scrap. A fragment of essence clings to the fabric, like a thread woven too tightly to be unraveled. Trees tower above you, and ropey vines stretch like tentacles across a marshy ruin. It takes all of your strength to trudge through the hip-deep water. You glance over your shoulder, but but the women and men of your company aren't there. Then a shape moves off in the distance. You draw your weapon, feeling now more alone than ever. The vision departs, leaving you with a deep pit in your stomach, and the phantom sensation that nothing has gone as it should have. The prince regards you expectantly. Yeah, nature is restless on this island, but I can guess nothing more.
I suspected this, as you say. Take care if you're light on Matario Cozy. My fear is that the island is sanctuary no more.
Sighing, Prince Aruihi folds the cloth with reverence.
Prepare yourself for a hard voyage northeast of Neketaka. Matario Cozy is nestled in the Kua Rakuhu Islands, in the midst of a landmass that resembles a storm, like the fall of Ukaizo locked in time.
Aruihi bites his thumbnail and turns away, lost in thought.
Don't mind me as I take down those coordinates.
Watcher, even if Ukaizo is a myth, Motario Cozy is old enough that it may contain some clue about why Eothas is interested in the Deadfire.
See, so despite her being a spy for the Valian Republics, she still seems more focused on my mission than hers. I do really like Palagina as a character, so I'm glad to have her back in the party. Okay, so we have a few things we need to do next time. We can afford the training from the Shield Bearer of St. Elka over here. I do want to speak to Prince Aruihi again. We need to continue exploring the palace. We need to respec Palagina. We need to go grab Takehu and come back here and speak to the prince again. So I'll probably do that before I actually speak to him again. So yeah, a handful of things we need to do that I was hoping to get done this episode, but that didn't happen. And let me look at this real quick. So we do have a quest to speak with the Hazanui at the Brass Citadel, but not a quest to speak to the head of the Valian Republics here. Nero. But he should be back at the headquarters. Alright, so we have a busy agenda for next time. I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.